Welcome into No Punt Intended, the first official show of the 2024 NFL offseason. We dive into now our free agency preview, starting with the most important position in all of football, the quarterback position. Diving through, myself, Ryan are here. No Josh, first-time guest, I believe, on this show. There are a lot of quarterback questions throughout the league, not just ones that are potential free agents that need holes to fill, but a lot of questions for teams with guys on their roster. Will they or will they not move on from them? Let's get into it. Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I'm your host, Joe Zollo. As always, not really because he's missed 2 of the last 3 shows. Ryan Weisse is here. His leg is feeling much better. He is now off the IR. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the first time on the show, Miss Stacy Perez from Fantasy and Frames. How are you?
I am fabulous. Thank you guys for having me. How are you guys doing today?
Oh, just a bundle of peaches over here.
I'm always good, but I feel like Joe has some things to get off his chest.
Oh my goodness.
Guys, the Chiefs won. How are you okay that the Chiefs won again? How are
Joe,
you okay?
I'm a Chiefs guy. You know I'm a Chiefs guy. And it's purely from fantasy. I did not grow up a Chiefs fan. I'm as close to bandwagon as one gets. Let me be very clear. I have no problem admitting it. I was a huge fan of the Mahomes-Andy Reid pairing. He didn't play the first year, but that was when I jumped on the bandwagon. Big Andy Reid guy from when I was an Eagles fan. So I am a part of this. I am a ancillary part of this Chiefs kingdom. I am excited. I am as happy as can be. I'm rooting for 3 in a row. This is perfect for me.
Who's your team, Stacy?
I'm a Packers fan. I really don't obviously have a dog in the fight, for the Super Bowl. I just wanted a really good game. But listen, if you let Mahomes come back like that on you, then hey, you deserve to lose then at that point.
And Joe, that sentiment, what Stacy just said, has been your sentiment from day one, and it was certainly your sentiment in the text message group that if you let Mahomes come back on you, you deserve every bit of the pain. Joe, you literally called it. I don't remember. I'm sure you'll remember word for word, but you're like, Kyle Shanahan is going to Shanahan this thing up. So.
I said Mahomes threw his interception. I said Mahomes over 0.5 interceptions, and I cashed that because I told people to do that. I didn't bet any of my own money. I don't have enough money to do that, but I told people to bet that. And I was like, cashed in, and it was a bad interception. I'm like, we're good. We're fine. Isaiah Pacheco fumble. Mahomes throws a pick. I'm like, we're chilling. And I said, the only thing that could screw this up is Kyle Shanahan. But apparently it wasn't him. It was Steve Wilkes, guys, because he got fired today. Yeah. So I'm just, for our Niners fans here, if we have any, God, I hope we don't. I'm sorry to you. And
there was someone riding with us during the season who was big Niners, and I cannot remember who it was now.
Yes, they commented on one of our shows saying Niners Super Bowl champs, not even an issue, and then we said Kyle Shanahan would be the issue.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. So I'm gonna bring a couple things. I'm not sure if you guys. I believe Ari Merlov. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Ari tweeted, I believe, a video out today of the start of overtime, and it was mic'd up of Mahomes, Fred Warner, Kyle Juszczyk, Travis Kelce. Not sure if you guys saw this video, but for anyone thinking that there's decisions being made, elsewhere out of Shanahan, no. He told Fred Warner, we want the ball. The Chiefs wanted to kick and get the ball second. Now, I got to say, this is the first time I've seen this overtime, so in the moment, I'm going to give Tony Romo one piece of credit. He did say, the only reason I can think that you would take the ball first is your defense just had a long drive and you want to give them some rest. To which I was like, you know what? That's a fair point. I'm not going to argue with that. I don't agree with it, but that's a fair point. They were on the field for a long time. And then San Fran drives and takes up half the first quarter of overtime, and it's like, all right, well, you gave them a lot of rest. They wanted to kick that. And then Juszczyk said, before they even took the field, they said, did you know that they still get the ball if we score a touchdown? Nobody knew. That was not a thing in the press conference they came up with. Nobody knew the overtime rules on the San Francisco 49ers. 1, how is that a possibility? 2, you want to know why it's Kyle Shanahan's fault? Here's why. And it's so good that Ryan and the nurse in the ER were talking about it.
Correct.
27 offensive plays in the second half for the 49ers. Might I mind you, 3 straight 3-and-outs to start their first 3 drives. And the first 6 plays they ran were passes. There's a theme here. They ran the ball.
Tony Romo is literally going, run the ball. Run the ball.
Yeah.
They ran the ball 9 times. Only 7 to Christian McCaffrey. I will say one of them was when McCaffrey came out of the game for a breather and Elijah Mitchell took that, but the other one was a Deebo Samuel end around. The stats for Super Bowl 51 in the second half. 28 plays. 8 runs. You have to say, oh my God, there's no way he did the same thing a third time. In Super Bowl 54, Kyle Shanahan in the second half, 31 plays, 9 runs. He never ran the ball more than 33% of the time in the second half, when up at least 10 points in both of these Super Bowls. What? What? It was so good. Guys, I tweeted it. I don't do that. I don't put anything in writing, okay? I don't like people to follow me and call me out on my bullshit.
Yeah, if Joe wants no ability for someone to come back on him.
But I've been saying this since he lost the second Super Bowl. This is insane.
Here's my question. And Stacy, I'll let you answer first since we've heard Joe already so much. You're in that situation where you fucked up. Plain and simple. You took the ball first. You're giving Mahomes 4 downs when you only have 3.
Right.
Do you kick that field goal or do you just go for the touchdown? Like, inevitably, I feel like by kicking the 3, you're saying we lost. Like, that's just my opinion if Mahomes is across the field.
I mean, it's so hard, especially when you've got, Mahomes on the other side waiting over there for you and you know what's coming, right? Like, what do you do? And you could say, well, at least you're getting points, for sure. It's for certain that you're getting points. And then you just put the trust in your defense. That's been incredible all year to stop them and hope that works out. So, I mean, I can kind of see it both ways. I don't mean to, take both sides on that, but, kind of look back with the Lions, back when they should have kicked a field goal and they didn't. And guess what? And then they lost that game because of it. So, there's an argument to be made for taking the points that you can get. But I don't understand not putting, just going back to what you were talking about, not putting the ball in the hands of the best player on the field, that for you. Why are you not giving it to McCaffrey as much as you possibly can? I don't get that. I mean, look, I like Brock Purdy. I'm not like a Brock Purdy hater. But if I'm in the Super Bowl, I've got Christian McCaffrey. I'm giving the ball to Christian McCaffrey. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand why that didn't happen as much in the second. So that was just mind-boggling to me.
Especially when it became so clear that Spagnuolo was getting to Brock Purdy. Like, he had figured this out certainly by overtime.
Right. Exactly. So I don't know. That just blew my mind. I was like, why are we not involving McCaffrey more in this half? I don't get it, but that's why
a couple things to wrap it up. One, Ryan, I'll answer your question. You take the points. I am a take the points guy. If the Lions take the points, they're in the Super Bowl. It's that simple. If the Lions take the points, they're in the Super Bowl.
And I don't disagree, but that wasn't an overtime. That was still like regular season stuff. Or not regular, but regular session.
Yeah, regulation. It was in regulation.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. This is straight up, we're giving the ball to Patrick Mahomes to come back and beat us.
Well, that's what he does. That's what he does.
Exactly.
So, as soon as you got it, you knew that's what was coming, and you just you can't leave enough time.
At least make him march 90 yards.
There was a lot of time, but you're still playing. Again, that's the first quarter of overtime. So to me, you've done a good job at holding that offense at least at 3 points or keeping them they're going to have to kick a field goal. They're not going for it on 4th and 5 from the 27. They're going to kick the field goal to go.
I thought it was a shorter field goal. It was a 27-yard field goal. It was from the 10-yard line.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking Kansas City. San Fran takes the points.
Apologies. Okay.
San Fran takes the points. Kansas City drives down, they stall at, the mid-20s.
Yeah.
They're going to kick, and then you're back into sudden death.
Well, let me bring this comment, because that'll let me get my opinion out here. So this person asked, what were the odds? And I assume you mean like, the Google odds that they all like to show. I have no idea what the actual odds were, but I'll tell you right now, it was 100% Kansas City was winning that game. Yeah. And that's just me. And so when you're saying if they stall out on the 27, they're not gonna go for it, they're gonna kick the field goal. They weren't stalling out on the 27.
Probably
that's
not.
just my opinion. So I have no idea what the actual, the odds they like to show. I have no idea what they actually were, but it was 100%. That game was over. Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
My second overall gripe to end this. How has no offensive coordinator figured out that Trent McDuffie, when he's near the line of scrimmage, is coming on a delayed blitz? This isn't rocket science, folks. It's all over the film.
Especially on third down.
Oh, my God. Every third down and 6, Trent McDuffie's coming on a fucking blitz. How have we not seen this? Romo's like, Trent McDuffie saved this game. Yeah, he saved every other fucking game because nobody can comprehend that a corner is coming on a blitz anymore. How did you not notice that? You picked up every linebacker blitz. You picked up everything else they threw at you. But if Trent McDuffie came off the edge and did a minor stunt route from the 9 gap to the 7 gap, you lost your head.
Yeah.
That's insane to me. If Trent McDuffie has at least even 1 sack next year, nobody has learned. It's going to be the same thing. Trent
I legit
McDuffie,
thought he was going to pick that ball off. I was like, oh, this is not going to go well.
No. Can I just want to jump back into about the knowing, like, we didn't know the overtime rules. I can't even believe that guys are willing to say that out loud. Yeah. Like that's crazy to me. This is your profession. This is your job every day. You're going into the biggest stage and you don't know the rules. And then you're going to come out and say that at the end. I mean, listen, like when I was in law school, I had a professor and this was his famous phrase. You got to know your craft. Yeah. You got to know your craft. And for these guys, these professionals to come out and be like, oh, we didn't know. My mind is blown that they're cool with just saying, oh, we had no idea. Come on now.
Not even talking about the Super Bowl. I agree wholeheartedly, Stacy.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking moment for my life.
Yeah.
Huge Donovan McNabb guy. Literally, my child's name is Donovan after Donovan McNabb. When they tied the Cincinnati Bengals and he went on mic and said, I didn't know games could end in a tie, broke my heart. This was like 2008, if I remember. Broke my heart. I'm like, don't say that. Why do I know?
This is your job. This is your job. Like, it's your job to know these things. Like, oh my gosh. I just can't believe it. I can't believe it.
As soon as you said it and as soon as they talked about it, I always go back to McNabb because he was such a big thing for me.
Yep. And that starts at the top, and that's Kyle Shanahan.
It is. I mean, look at Belichick. Like, Belichick gets away with so many different things because he knows the rules inside and out.
Yeah, the Doug Flutie drop kick, field goal, or extra point.
How about wasting 2 minutes of clock, getting false starts in delay of games in the Jets game, just completely fucking with Adam Gase.
Nothing.
Jets did nothing because they didn't know what to do.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my rant.
I love it. No.
Dog status. Yep. All right. Quarterbacks. A lot of questions.
Yeah.
To easily put it. The biggest one coming with Justin Fields and the Bears. Is he the answer? They obviously have the 1st overall pick and the 9th overall pick. So do they take Caleb Williams and then protect him with a lineman? Do they trade out of that pick and maybe get a couple extra linemen to protect Fields? Do they draft Marvin Harrison right there and give Fields Harrison and more and then protect him again with an offensive lineman at 9? Plenty of possibilities there. The Commanders, Sam Howell tried. They have the 102. It is mostly looking like they are going to get Drake May. Unless the Bears are going to do something crazy or somebody's going to jump the Commanders, it's most likely looking like Drake May. If not, they could fall into the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. I'm not one on that train. Mac Jones has already confirmed that he is not going to be a Patriot next year. There's multiple reports that he's not going to be a Patriot. In Bailey's app, he's not the answer. They said at 103, Jaden Daniels being the most mocked quarterback going to that team right now. Daniel Jones is coming off injury, and the Giants have the 6th pick in the draft. They won't have their option of the top 3 guys, most likely, unless they want to trade up, but could get a guy like a J.J. McCarthy if his dumb ass goes top 6. That's going to be a sad day in life. But J.J. McCarthy, you might be looking at the next best guy, potentially Michael Penix in that conversation as well. Desmond Ridder experiment is over, and the Falcons hold the 8th overall draft pick. Another team rumored to potentially want to be in on Justin Fields. The Falcons trading that 8th pick and grabbing Justin Fields for that or something like that. The Vikings and Kirk Cousins is a free agent. There's a good chance Kirk probably ends up back in Minnesota. I don't think there's any reports out there saying he's not going to be in Minnesota. So don't spend too much time on that. The Broncos are expected to release Russell Wilson. Jimmy Garoppolo is expected to be one.
I think he meant gone. I was literally just
gone. I was like, interesting. Jimmy Garoppolo's most likely gone in Las Vegas, and Aiden O'Connell, still a lot of question marks on him. I thought he was okay, and I think there's a lot to build on with him, but the Raiders still have an opportunity there in free agency. The Steelers outright bench Kenny Pickett after returning from injury, and there's nobody really behind him. They released Mitchell Trubisky, so he's out of the question. And Baker Mayfield is a free agent for the Bucs. There's already been heavy backing to bring him back to Tampa Bay, but we'll see if they want to shell out the presumed money that Baker is going to carry with having a career year. So, Stacey, I'll start with you. The team to make the biggest splash at the quarterback position here, because I'm not going to lie to you, all these teams just kind of feel meh.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it is kind of when I was looking at, all right, who are our free agent quarterbacks here? Obviously Cousins is the best one that's available, right? And I think you're right. I think he signs back with the Vikings. I was taking a look at his career earnings just for fun. Do you guys have any idea of what that is?
Kirk Cousins, his career earnings?
Career earnings,
he had that franchise tag stretch. I'm going to say Kirk Cousins' career earning. What are you going to say, Joe?
206.
I'd say 350.
Ooh, Price is Right style. Joe gets it. So it's 231. Actually, this is one of the most fun things that I like to do is like look up guys like career earnings because it always just blows my mind. Just that kind of money is ridiculous. Look, there's nobody on the depth chart who's a threat, right? That they could just feel comfortable with getting rid of Cousins and maybe relying on one of them or bring somebody else in. I mean, you've got Dobbs, Mullins, Jarrett Hall, not so great. But if you take a look at his numbers, and I'm talking about Cousins, in those 8 games before he got hurt, he was on pace to just have an absolutely incredible year if he had kept that up, right? So if he had kept up his numbers that he had been doing, he would have thrown almost 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, which would have put him at QB1 for those numbers. Obviously, that probably wouldn't have happened, but it still would have been really high up there. So he was playing fantastic, and he's got Addison now to go along with Jefferson. I don't see how the Vikings don't re-sign him. I think that would be a huge mistake for them. But to answer your question about the team that makes the biggest splash, I would love so much if Justin Fields went to Atlanta and got to play with Pitts and London. And I just think and Bijan, now I think that would be great for him. I think a fresh start would be really good for him because I really don't see the Bears backing away from the opportunity to go get Caleb Williams on a rookie salary, right? That's just so tempting. It's so tempting for them.
I am against the Bears moving on. However, I think you're right. And somebody on Twitter, someone smarter than me this week was like, if you don't believe that Fields is markedly better than Caleb Williams, you have to side with resetting the clock on the rookie contract. And so you have to understand, like, Fields, Joe, we love Fields as the fantasy prospect, but you have been the leader of the Justin Fields is not a good quarterback train. Yeah. And you can't deny whether you like Caleb Williams or not. He is a better thrower of the football than Justin Fields.
I mean, so our guys are going to play in the arena football. It's like that's not. We're comparing apples to oranges at this point. But I say all the time when we talk about Fields, there's 5 to 6 throws a game where you're like, I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game, Justin. Yeah. And then there's 10 throws where you're like, really?
This guy doesn't belong here.
He doesn't belong here.
What was it? Tyson Bagent could teach him a few things.
Oh, gosh.
Well, again, the thing that was so apparent to me with Tyson Bagent is he was just calm in the pocket. It looked, now granted, is the arm strength there, is the arm talent there? Maybe, and his head wasn't all there. I think Tyson Bagent is going to be a good backup quarterback for a long time. He showed it. And I think the thing with Bagent that just stood out was he was just calm. And I think if Fields has not had the coaching to help him be calm is the thing. And Fields is comfortable on the move. If you get Fields like on the run and moving, he's comfy. He's no issues whatsoever. But you have him do 3-step, 5-step drop, so go out of the shotgun, take a couple steps back, and just sit there.
Yeah.
There are throws he has to make like that, yes. And there's quick reads where he's comfortable doing that. But if he has to sit back there and read a defense, dude's in trouble. He's at it. Go ahead.
A lot of Fields' problems, to your point, were Matt Nagy and Luke Getzey problems.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. And the big reason I would love Fields in Atlanta. I think that's a great spot for him. Yes. Yeah. I think that's a great spot for him, and we'll get there when we talk about the best spots for these guys. But if you're the Bears, I'm going to bring up the fucking U.S. Army and SEAL Team 6, okay? How SEAL Team 6 constructed their group was not the best shooters, the best tacticians. It was who worked best together. Yeah. You could have been an average shot with, above average tactical ability and like really good communication. But like your shooting skills could have been, okay, you could have been the guy lined up to shoot Osama, but you weren't the best shot. You want to know why they put those guys together? Is because they work the best as a team.
It's something I've always marveled at about like rock and roll bands. It's never the best lead singer, best drummer, best guitarist. It's the four guys who work together the best.
Yeah, it's the guys that gel. Absolutely.
It's the best that work together. And that's why you see like some of these groups will just, their solo art, the singer will break off because they're the best one in the group and everyone literally just sucks. Like that, and that's what it is. So to me, there's been so many people behind Fields in that organization saying we don't want him to leave. He's the guy. He's a great locker room guy. And yes, he does need to improve. That's 100% true. But the team was 7-9 last year. They got better. And the team around him got better. You give Fields a weapon. Some fucking Ryan Clark said they have a dynamic run game. I don't know what fucking run game you were looking at, buddy, but they don't have a dynamic run game. They need help there. But the biggest thing with Caleb Williams right now is his tape is coming out. It's not great. He's been showing like he made regressions from 2 years ago to this past year. And everyone's saying he's an awful teammate. So you're telling me you're going to break up a very tight-knit group to bring in, yes, he might be more talented. Yes, he might be a better thrower of the football. A guy who we don't know if anybody's going to like him. I don't know. I'm just worried about that.
I'm on your side. Like I said, I am against Justin Fields going anywhere. Stacey, I have one question for you, though. Yes. So there was the Raheem Morris quote right when he got to Atlanta where they asked him, what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. And I found it so interesting. He's like, we need to get Bijan Robinson and Drake London the ball more. He didn't say Kyle Pitts, and I just thought that was weird.
Fuck you, Kyle.
Oh,
They're clearly looked at as a big three, and he didn't say Kyle Pitts, and I just don't know how I feel about that. And so I am all aboard. I think, and Joe, you mentioned the improvisation of Justin Fields' game. Could you imagine being able to improv with Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson? Like, that's a dream come true.
That's amazing. And I just want to be clear too. Like, I don't think the Bears should get rid of Fields. I like Fields. But I would like to see him with a new, fresh environment before making a final judgment on him there, just because he's had so much instability, in the coaching staff. So I think that I would just like to see that. But I would think, it just seems like he's, like you said, all the things, a good teammate, the city likes him, like all those things. But from a business standpoint, I just don't see how the Bears actually, don't take Caleb Williams and, the financial breaks that are going to come with that for his.
Well, I think you answered the question great, because you said what team's going to make the biggest splash. And the fact of the matter is this: if Chicago's willing to listen, Atlanta needs to make that phone call, and that would be a big splash.
For sure.
Which, in the same token, the Bears would also be making a giant splash as well. at that position. So, free agent quarterbacks, just running through who is all out there and available, guys on the move.
I want to throw one more thing out there, Joe, for the biggest splash. Just shut your mouth. Because there's another team that is built similarly to Atlanta and has never in the last 20 years finished below 500 and should maybe be making that phone call about Justin Fields as well. And that's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, I thought I said the Patriots. I'm like, what?
No, because right now Kenny Pickett ain't it.
No.
Mason Rudolph ain't it.
No.
You got a running back. You have a decent tight end. You have good wide receivers on the outside. That's someone where Fields could work too. Now, what I don't know is Tomlin really the let's let my quarterback fuck around and find out type?
I mean, Ben Roethlisberger sometimes fucked around and found out, but
did.
it was mostly fucking around and finding out inside the pocket.
I was going to say on the field or off the field?
Yes, all of the above. All of the above. He definitely fucked around and found out. That is very true.
Stacy, the attorney, bringing that one up.
That was great. That was great.
I saw one of those. Have you guys seen they've been on the internet, the NFL memes? They do those really like ridiculous NFL Valentines.
Yeah.
They had one for Ben Roethlisberger that was in that vein.
Tough.
A little spicy.
Yeah. Get locked in a bathroom together.
I love it. We did our Valentine's cards for the team I work for, and the caption I put was DTP down to puck.
Yeah.
So,
but I think Pittsburgh, if Atlanta's in, I think Pittsburgh needs to be in because Pittsburgh they were making a run towards the playoffs again this year. And so I think Pittsburgh needs to also consider making a move, especially in a very, very strong division. If Pittsburgh doesn't make a move, they are looking trapped in the cellar of the AFC North for 2-3 more years. So.
When we talk about landing spots for all these teams, I have a guy that I do think is just going to be like, it's not good. I'm like, this is definitely a Mike Tomlin move. So we'll see. But here,
sorry. I was just going to say, how do y'all feel about Arthur Smith going to Pittsburgh?
I'm fine with it.
That doesn't concern you at all? That doesn't like.
As long as he's not the head coach.
Yes. Listen, I get it, Steelers fans. Recency bias, you're panicking. Mm-hmm. How bad has Najee Harris been for you? Remember what Arthur Smith had? He now has Derrick Henry light. Like the great value, like deep discount clearance version of Derrick Henry, but he's got him. Okay? What did Arthur Smith do with Derrick Henry? He did pretty fucking good. Last time I checked, he did pretty good. So he did well as the OC in Tennessee.
He seemed, when you start playing the games he was playing in Atlanta, it's because you're overwhelmed with the task at hand. I think taking responsibility away from him is going to work out well. I agree.
100%.
I'm hoping that's.
I mean, we're all hoping. We just don't want to see another Bijan Robinson. I mean, here's the thing. I'm down on Najee Harris and his 3.8 yards per carry anyway. But I just don't want to see another Bijan Robinson situation. No. But maybe Jaylen Warren.
I'm a Jaylen Warren fan.
Yeah. Hey, let's do it. Okay.
I love Jaylen Warren. I was like, oh my gosh, with their, poor Pat Freiermuth, like we're going to have Darnell Washington in the end zone getting touchdowns. With Arthur Smith back there, not using his number one tight end. Backup
tight ends are the most important thing in the world to Arthur Smith.
This is true.
Go get Darnell and best ball.
Oh yeah. All right. Free agent quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins, we're all assuming he's back in Minnesota. That one's not too surprising. Baker Mayfield, I think a lot of us also assuming he's back in Tampa. He's going to garner a lot of money.
I think he's back in Tampa. I mean, I'm a Tampa girl. I live in Tampa, and I can tell you he's beloved here. I mean, you'll go to Lightning games and see him there, and, crowd goes nuts. People freak out. You just love him. And
well, let's be real. Before Tom Brady, they didn't really have a guy.
I had a lot. No, I had a lot of people. I mean, we had Jameis. Come on now. We had Jameis before he got to be really fun. We didn't have the fun version, like is what's going on in New Orleans right now.
Eating these dubs.
We had the crab legs version. But no,
these dubs.
Yeah. I like Baker to stay here. I mean, he had a great year. Like I said, just really kind of endeared himself. And who are they going to play? Kyle Trask? No.
Dog.
Yeah.
Dog. Woof. Easy. Other free agents: Gardner Minshew, Ryan Tannehill's in a void year, Jacoby Brissett, Jake Browning has exclusive rights for free agency, Drew Lock, Tyler Huntley, Sam Darnold, Jameis Winston also in a void year, Joe Flacco, Joshua Dobbs, Easton Stick. Why is he on this list? And
believe it or not, I have a theory on Easton Stick, so this will work out.
He's re-enrolling at North Dakota State for his master's degree and going to play his 5th season. And Carson Wentz. QB's potentially on the move. Guys already on NFL rosters. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo, Zach Wilson, and Mr. Mac Jones. Extension candidates include Tua T, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence. So a couple questions here. How many quarterbacks actually change teams this offseason for starting jobs? So let's at least just start there. We all agree Kirk and Baker stay put. For starting jobs, I'm not going to include Gardner Minshew, even though he was a starter most of the year. Obviously, that is Anthony Richardson's
Yeah, I
job.
didn't count and then like the Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers thing, I didn't count any of that. I went through and looked at the teams with non-cemented starters. I think we're going to see 7 new starters next year.
Ooh.
Okay, 7, fair. Stacey, I don't know if you have an exact number. If not, we can graze over the question.
I have 2 that I feel pretty confident about. Obviously, Fields, and I feel pretty confident about Russell Wilson. Obviously, he's not staying in Denver, and I don't think he's going to accept a backup role anywhere. And I think, somebody could use him. I mean, he's definitely not the worst quarterback out there, especially, when you can get past, his personality that's a little off-putting, and look at his actual numbers. He's not a bad quarterback. So I could definitely see some team taking a chance on him. But I feel pretty confident with 2 for sure.
Okay, fair. And then backup quarterback to get a shot as a starter in 2024. Ryan, you cannot say Gardner Minshew. So you have to say someone else.
Let me look at my list here. Okay.
Because you were going to say Gardner Minshew, weren't you?
Oh, certainly. And I think so of my list, I have like the teams that I think could make moves. So many of them start with, I'd love to see Gardner here. I think they should give Gardner a look.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody in the whole world should. There's one that I think makes a lot of sense, and there's one wild card I'll throw out just for the fun. So I'm going to start with the fun one because you brought up Easton Stick, and I was like, where could Easton Stick end up? If the Broncos strike out everywhere, there are ties with Joe Lombardi to Easton Stick in Los Angeles. And so maybe it's one of those things where it's a guy who knows the system, and do they bring Easton Stick in if they strike out everywhere else? Do I think it's going to happen? No, but just threw that one out there. But
hold on. I saw a TikTok the other day. It was a 5-minute long TikTok. It's like, well, if Jason Tatum tears his Achilles and Jaylen Brown tears his Achilles and Joel Embiid, after he recovers from his Achilles, tears his other Achilles, the Chicago Bulls could have an opportunity. They got all the way down to basically every single superstar in the NBA, and it's like the Bulls could have the option to get into the playoffs.
But in reality, I'm going to go back to Denver, and it's a guy we've been talking about. I would not be the least bit surprised to see Jameis Winston link back up with Sean Payton, see if they can make this thing work now outside of New Orleans. You're on a team that has a solid running back, at least one good wide receiver. We all expect Jerry Jeudy to be gone, but Marvin Mims had some decent play last year. Sean Payton knows what Jameis Winston, he knows what he's getting. I think, honestly, if they're going to let Russ go, because there were some reports last week that they are reconsidering this whole Russ thing, I think after seeing what the free agent field looks like. But if they're going to let Russ go, I don't think they're going to have the firepower to go get Fields. I think Jameis Winston could end up being the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. So that would be my pick for a backup quarterback to have a chance to do something.
I love that. I love that idea. I didn't even think about that. I actually was looking at their depth chart. So they've got Jared Stidham there. I thought maybe if they can't go get anybody else, Stidham's probably better than, a first year coming in because they're not going to get one of the top guys. But I kind of like the Jameis thing now that you bring that up. I think I like that a little bit better. But Jameis is always going to endear himself to me after what he pulled that last game against the Falcons right there.
Because you're a fan.
I'm a fan. I'll tell you why. Because it was all to get Jamal Williams in the end zone. And I love Jamal Williams. He's one of my favorite players of all time. I just think his personality is fantastic. And what a good teammate. What a good teammate.
I brought this up after that week that Jamal Williams went from, 18 rushing touchdowns to 1, and it was Jameis Winston who got it for him.
He just got it for him. I mean, that's what he said. He's like, here's our guy, hasn't had a touchdown, doing a whole new role, because the team asked him to, being a team player. get him in the end zone. I was like, you're right,
That
Jameis.
was the first thing that upset Arthur Smith all season.
It was. And I was like, you know what? Stop being a baby. If you didn't like it at 41, you're not going to like it at 47, so who cares?
I love it.
I think Jake Browning should get an opportunity. I don't think Cincinnati's going to let him leave.
I was just going to the Bengals cannot let this man go.
No.
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
No.
Yeah.
The Bengals are doing their best to get Joe Burrow crippled for his life, and they need to have a backup there, and it needs to be Jake Browning.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I hope it does because I think Jake Browning deserves a shot. He proved he could throw. Of all the guys that could go somewhere, spoiler, I think Drew Lock goes to Pittsburgh.
Do you?
Ooh.
Doesn't that just feel right? Doesn't that just feel right?
It does. It feels like right in all the wrong sort of ways.
Yes.
My theory on Drew Lock is sunken cost fallacy. I feel like, he was a part of the Russell Wilson trade. He played relatively well when they needed him to last year. I think Seattle's going to want to hold on to him. So.
Yeah, but he has a giant penis. I don't think you're taking that into account. Nickname Big Cock Lock. Okay?
I understand. I understand.
Have you not heard that one, Stacy? That was his.
I had not.
That was his nickname at college in Missouri.
And for 3 games with the Denver Broncos until they realized he couldn't play.
Correct.
Well, I was wondering if he got that nickname after that Monday Night Football win against the Eagles, where he led that comeback. I was like, that where he got that name?
People were using it more when that happened. But there were videos of him at Mizzou, all the players walk in the fan tunnel, into the stadium and stuff like that. And there's obviously 19, 20, 21-year-old college guys screaming, Big Cock Lock. And then Drew turns around and gives him a smirk and then does a little bit of this and slaps his leg. I'm like, hell yeah, Drew, go you, buddy.
He seems like he would be fun to party with. For sure.
Yeah, he went to Missouri. Of course he's fun to party with.
It does not feel like an Arthur Smith quarterback to me.
That was in Missouri that went to Missouri. So I know how they get down. But he seems like a fun time.
Oh, he's a fun time. That's without a doubt he's a fun time. That's a Pete Carroll guy right there.
Yes.
Yeah. Petey Pablo's chewing the gum while Drew Lock's rolling the blunts. That's exactly what's happening at those parties. Are you kidding me? All right, let's get into landing spots here of those teams that we said were quarterback needy. We'll start with the Bears, and we will go with what we feel is going to happen. Feel free to give an explanation if you want to. If not, you can just say, fuck it, and this guy's going here. Again, it could be a draft pick. It could be free agency. It could be stick with the same guy. So, Stacy, we'll start with you on all these. The Chicago Bears, who is their quarterback in 2024?
Caleb Williams. That's their quarterback in 2024, I think. It's either Williams or Field. I don't see anything. There's nothing else that's going to be one of those two, but I feel pretty confident saying it's going to be Caleb Williams.
I think it's a complete mistake, and I completely agree with Stacy. They are going to reset the clock and go Caleb Williams when it should be Justin Fields, but I'll say Caleb Williams as well.
Yeah.
I think it's Justin Fields. I'm sticking to it. I think it is going to be Justin Fields will be the quarterback for them in 2024. Washington Commanders, Stacy.
Probably Drake May at this point.
Sounds so happy about it.
Yeah, it's not going to be Sam Howell, and I think Jacoby Brissett probably moves on. So it's going to be a draft pick. It's going to be a rookie.
Brian?
Yeah. I think Brissett ends up back in Cleveland for what it's worth, Stacy. So I agree.
Yeah.
This was first team that I wrote. I'd love to see Gardner get a chance here. But they're definitely drafting a quarterback at 2. It's going to be, I don't know the kid. What's the kid from LSU? Jaden
Daniels.
Jaden Daniels or Drake May. It's going to be one of those.
Yeah.
So with my logic, Caleb Williams goes here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Caleb Williams because I also feel that they're somehow going to weasel their way with Cliff Kingsbury being the OC now in Washington and him wanting to get Caleb Williams. So
let me ask you this, Joe. So you're saying with your logic, I don't think we broke this down. Do you have the Bears just taking someone else at 1 or trading out? Because wouldn't someone who trades up be trading up to get Williams?
So yes, and I don't know if any team would be willing to pay that price because I mean
I agree because they're from what I'm hearing, it's going to cost a lot to get the 101 this year.
Because this isn't a Bryce Young or a CJ Stroud, right? Good quarterbacks. They're treating this guy like he is Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes. Like he is. Well, even Mahomes wasn't even drafted like that.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes now, not Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, Mahomes now.
Yeah.
But they like people are treating this like RG3 was a fantastic quarterback in college and like rightfully so, pick 2 at the time. It was like Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin III was way down here. Luck was generational. Trevor Lawrence was labeled as generational. This is what they're labeling this guy as. So the Bears should be getting every first-round pick in the book that team can give them and players. So I think it's going to be a heavy price tag for them. So I think stay put.
Okay,
what?
Go ahead. Keep going.
I think stay put and take Marvin Harrison.
Okay. I'm like, what is your scenario here?
Marvin Harrison.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they load Fields up at the wide receiver position, and they go draft a tackle or a guard at 9. That's what I think, because that's 1 is way too high for Joe Alt. Yeah. That's one of the best linemen there.
Perfect way for that to happen.
I would not hate that. I think that would be fantastic.
I think that's the best route for the Bears, personally. Now, if they wanted to trade out of that pick, and you could still get a Roma Dunze or like one of these guys in the middle rounds, because you're thinking somebody from probably 5 through 8 would be trading up to get Caleb Williams. So you're still in that Roma Dunze territory.
Yeah.
And then you're still able to draft a lineman at 9. Or you could trade back, take Joe Alt, the left tackle, who's supposed to be the best lineman in this draft, and then take a wide receiver at 9. So I think that's the best way they do it.
Dunze could be easily hanging out for them there at 9 as well.
100%. But from what I think they go Harrison, and I think the Commanders will end up with Caleb Williams.
Okay. I didn't know how you saw it playing out, so thank you.
I think there's 2 different ways to go. I think what's best for them is if a team in that middle, like top 10 wants to trade up, take whatever they're going to give you and load up on picks for the future and then still get really good players. If not, take the generational wide receiver at pick 1.
Okay.
Because that's the son of a Hall of Famer who could arguably be better than his father by the end of his career with how good he's looked so far. So moving on to the Patriots. Stacy.
Patriots. Okay, so this is kind of fun. Or I don't know. It depends on...
I'm a Patriots fan, Stacy.
I was going to say, Stacy.
Okay.
None of this is fun.
Maybe I should apologize beforehand. All right. And if it's not going to be Bailey's,
I love that you're so nervous.
Stacy, I'm already mad at the team. I'm not going to get mad at you. Don't worry.
Okay. What if Jimmy G returns home?
Go away. Nope. This is Stacy. I said I wasn't going to get mad. I said it. And then you said that.
There's a silver lining. Is
there though? Is there?
Because then you're going to.
Is the silver lining he gets hurt? Is that the silver lining?
No. Because then you're going to take Marvin Harrison at number 3, and then
We're not taking Harrison at 3.
I just keep thinking, like, if Jimmy's not going to be in San Francisco with Shanahan, what is he doing? I was like, you know what? He's going home. He's going home where he's comfortable. Where he started, with the Patriots. Like, that makes it great.
Nobody that was on that coaching staff is there anymore.
Well, John Mayo was on the defense, right?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't even there.
No, I mean as a player. Wasn't he a linebacker? No. Oh, I thought he was. Okay.
That was post-Mayo player, pre-Mayo coach.
Okay. I do want to throw out. I was honestly, Stacy, I was going to put that in my notes. But I've been doing shows with Joe for 4 years now. It was like, I am not
punched you through the screen.
Going to deal with Joe bitching about me saying this.
I would have nut tapped you at my wedding.
But I knew another way to get Joe mad. And that's by saying they're going to take J.J. McCarthy.
Dude, if they take J.J. McCarthy.
No, I think it's May or Daniels, whichever one.
That's even worse. Drake May. Listen.
I know you don't like May.
The Zollo boys are on the same wavelength here.
I saw that earlier. Yeah.
Is horrific. Absolutely horrific. I would rather have Jawan Jennings as the quarterback.
God.
The man threw a touchdown in the Super Bowl. He's already better than Mac Jones. He has more playoff passing touchdowns than Mac Jones. Change my mind. Change my mind. 100%.
I think the Patriots are a team because of just the full rebuild they are doing. I think the Patriots are a team for a lock that they are taking a quarterback at 3, and that is the franchise quarterback. So I don't think we're going to see them dabble in free agency.
You have to try. Now, if they're trying in free agency, it is a bridge guy to potentially get you to suck enough in the future to maybe want a guy like Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning.
Ooh.
The boy is from Texas. I ain't trusting a quarterback coming out of Texas. That is not happening. Colt McCoy? Vince Young? Guys, we're not doing that, okay? The Texas quarterback experiment, that was done in 2010. We don't need any of that bullshit coming here, okay? I'm fine with the flyer on Jaden Daniels. I'm fine with it. Drake May, do not give me the third University of North Carolina quarterback project in the NFL in the last 8 years.
I knew McCarthy and May. McCarthy and May were the ones you would not want on that team. So for your sake, I hope it's Daniels.
Okay, is Drake May probably better than Sam Howell and Trubisky? Sure. Does he still play quarterback at a Division I basketball powerhouse? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Just like I'm not drafting a quarterback from Kentucky, Will Levis. I'm not doing that. That doesn't make any sense.
With it.
Jaden Daniels, I will happily take the flyer on because of his dynamic ability and I think his willingness to learn, and he has a good skill set to work with. I am done with the pocket passing quarterback for the time being. Thank you. JJ McCarthy, kick rocks. Okay? Jaden Daniels, hopefully, if they want to go bridge guy, if they can somehow get their fucking hands on Jake Browning, that would be awesome. But if they want to go bridge guy, I wouldn't be surprised if they bring back Brissett or they went with a guy like Drew Lock. But I do think they will take Jaden Daniels.
So, oh my God, I didn't even think about Brissett going back. I don't know. When you said that, I'm like, you're talking about Washington? But no, you're talking about New England. I was like, holy shit. I want to throw one quick thing at you. I know we've already spent way too much time on the Patriots, but Caleb Williams goes 1, Jaden Daniels goes 2. You obviously don't want McCarthy or May. You said you don't think they take Marvin Harrison. What do you want them to do at 3 if you don't believe they're going to take Marvin Harrison?
Classic Belichick move. Trade out. Classic Belichick move. Trade out. Dude, pay homage to the man. Trade out. Okay. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
Trade that shit for 17 sixth-round picks. I don't care. Do not take either one of those fucking bums.
Okay.
Please.
That's a very Joe answer that I expected.
Please, God. I mean, if they want to take Harrison, sure. They just need to get somebody to
throw him the ball.
Yeah, underhand throw him the football would be perfect. All right. Falcons, talked about them earlier. Let's finish it up. Stacy, who do you think's going to the Falcons, or who's their quarterback?
It's going to be Fields. Yeah, I think it's going to be Fields. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't know if that's the best thing to happen or not, but I don't hate him there. So if he ends up there, I like it. I think that's exciting. That's going to be fun to watch next year.
Ryan.
I've said 2 names all along. I think it's Justin Fields. If it's not Justin Fields, I think it's Russell Wilson. He's going to go down there, just shove it in Future's face all day long.
Shove what exactly in Future's face?
Yeah, whatever he needs to. The fact that he's a better father to Future's child. But anyway, it's Justin Fields or it's Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I would. Well, obviously, I'm not Fields because I think Fields stays in Chicago. Correct. I do like Russell Wilson there. I think that does make sense. I will say if they were to go with quarterback, I think it's too early for them to go with quarterback. So maybe they trade back a little bit.
I'm hearing. Let me be clear. What I'm about to say, I don't agree with. But I am hearing McCarthy is shooting up boards. So this might be the spot where we see McCarthy go.
Potentially. I don't like the fit. But it's perfect for McCarthy you have a really good running back and a solid defense, which is exactly how you were lined up in college. Exactly. So personally, yes, Penix has so many health injuries, health concerns.
Yeah.
He's just fucking better. He's just simply better. So maybe Penix. Bo Nix was great this year. I still don't believe in Bo Nix, but I think either one of those guys go before JJ McCarthy. But I do think they will stay veteran. I do like Russell Wilson going there. Moving on to the Vikings. We don't spend too much time on this. Everyone thinks Kirk Cousins won't even bother with it. Pittsburgh Steelers. Now it gets interesting, Stacey. Who's going to the Steelers?
So it's a name that we've already talked about, and I think it's a complete upgrade from what they've been dealing with. I like Jacoby Brissett to go to the Steelers. I think that would just be, a lot better. He did so well in Cleveland during the time that he was playing there while Deshaun was out. And, I think he could go to Pittsburgh, just really bring a lot more to their offense. I just some stability and actually a good quarterback because they've been dealing with some trash for a while.
Oh yeah, major trash. Ryan.
Sorry, Kenny Pickett.
Sorry, working on the show sheet a little bit. So I have an interesting one here. So Steelers are, I feel, as I've already said in the show, similar situation to the Atlanta Falcons. So Fields, Russ, if they can't get Fields, I'm hearing a lot because of Arthur Smith, Ryan Tannehill. But there's a name that I want to throw out here. I have so many names for the Steelers. I think they should be a buyer. Gardner Minshew, obviously. Actually, there's two names I want to throw out. Number one, he knows the division. I think he's a good quarterback who's never gotten a shake. I was talking about him a lot last year. Tyler Huntley, much like Stacy's pick of Jacoby Brissett, I think could be a really nice fit in an Arthur Smith system. But there's one more name that if you want to rob a division rival and this man still wants to play, bring Joe Flacco over.
Are you serious?
Yes, Joe Flacco.
Can you imagine being a Ravens fan and Joe Flacco not only takes the Browns to the playoffs, but then he goes and plays for the Steelers?
So
that's a level of petty I can support. I love it.
I think Cleveland should do everything they can if he wants to keep playing to bring him back. I think he is the right fit in the locker room, and we know Deshaun Watson may not be the right fit in the locker room, but he's certainly the quarterback they're going to put on the field. But I think if you have Deshaun Watson on the field and Joe Flacco keeping the team calm, I don't think that's the bad move for Cleveland. So I think that's what they should look at. But if Flacco wants to play and Cleveland doesn't want him, I think Pittsburgh should take a hard look if they can't get one of these premier names. I do think they should be going. I would get Joe Flacco over Ryan Tannehill. Let me be perfectly fucking clear. I am a Ryan Tannehill hater. I'll take Huntley and Flacco, and I'll certainly take Gardner Minshew. I take Gardner Minshew over Russ. That's just who I am.
So I want to ask you this question, Ryan, because notoriously you said when we did our wrap up that you don't like George Pickens. Now let me pitch this to you, okay? Flacco loves his deep ball guys.
Certainly does.
Flacco loves his deep ball guys.
Still not drafting Pickens, but he'll be on a lot of best ball teams.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Calvin Austin.
but if he's giving you like Amari Cooper with Joe Flacco type vibes,
you gotta buy in at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve Smith was absolutely smoking idiots, and George Pickens isn't even in the same.
If
echelon.
Joe Flacco ends up in Pittsburgh, I will have to adjust some of my George Pickens takes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, George Pickens.
Differently then, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, God, touch me in the jollies. That got me excited. I'm gonna play a little rookie card. Maybe I do think they probably end up, like I said, I think Drew Lock does go there. I do think Drew Lock is the guy.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Again, it feels McCarthy is roughly going in this area, I believe, right now. So it could be a McCarthy. Bo Nix also feels like a Mike Tomlin guy. It just feels like a Mike Tomlin guy. So I would say McCarthy or Bo Nix is a wild card to be drafted at 20. I would rather them make that investment on the offensive line. I would rather the Steelers make that investment on an aging defensive line. So
taking the fourth best quarterback, fifth best quarterback at 20 feels like taking Kenny Pickett as the number one quarterback. Like, it just feels like repeating your mistakes.
I agree, but at least you're looking. And again, I'm not a Bo Nix defender in the slightest. But Kenny Pickett played in the ACC for Pitt. Bo Nix played Pac-12 and SEC football. So, like, the man has played better competition and goes to Oregon and literally looks like a fucking world beater at Oregon, even though we all know he's not. But he has better stuff than Kenny Pickett. I think we can at least all agree on that. So, yes, I agree, but you want to talk about we talk about the Justin Fields, Caleb Williams. If you don't see that much of a difference, reset the rookie clock.
Very fair point. Very fair point.
So I think that's where you might be able to see it, but I would rather them go get a bridge guy, still be 8-8 again, and go and you just keep playing the odds there. I don't know. I also hate the Steelers, so fuck them. The Las Vegas Raiders Stacy, who you got?
I think they stay with O'Connell. I really do. I think he wasn't bad, right? He wasn't great, but he was not terrible.
Yeah.
I just stick with him, let him develop a little bit more, see what he can do with some of these, parts around him. I think they stick with O'Connell, go get some help in other positions. I was just looking at that. Are they 13? Yeah, they've got the 13.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I see them giving him a little bit more time, see what they have with him.
Ryan.
This is where I believe Gardner Minshew ends up. So I think the Raiders are going to go get Gardner Minshew. I think he is the right guy for that element over there with this player coach now. He's the guy who's going to fit in with the vibe they're going over there. I've brought his name up a few times. This is where I think he ends up. This area of the draft, this is where I think J.J. McCarthy could also end up. Feels like the kind of guy maybe the Raiders would kind of covet there. But I truly believe the Raiders are the team I struggle with here. But I truly believe Gardner Minshew ends up a Las Vegas Raider as the starting quarterback, and I don't even know that they then go a rookie at 13. So I'm going to say this.
Imagine in Vegas.
That's what I'm saying. This feels like the Gardner Minshew landing spot. So.
That's perfect.
I'm going to agree with both of you because I do think O'Connell is probably the starter again. But if he's not, Gardner Minshew makes the most sense. So I'm going to agree with both. And just to bring up Jim's question. Unofficially, obviously, the combine hasn't happened. 9 7/8. Not huge, not tiny.
Is that bigger than Kenny Pickett in his tiny hands?
Yes. Kenny Pickett might have been 9.5.
I'm gonna look it up now.
I think
8.5.
Kenny Pickett was not 8.5, was he?
This is what Google is telling me, but that cannot be right.
That's insane. There's no way. I think it's 9.5.
It says he was originally measured at 8.5 at the combine, but by draft day, it was measured out at 8.625.
That's like listing yourself on Tinder as 6 foot when you're 5'11.
100%. 100%.
Okay.
I don't know these rookies. Plug for my big company. Football Guys just dropped their free rookie draft guide. If you guys haven't downloaded it, go check it out. So I was just reading up on what my boys, Kevin, Jeff, and Christian were writing up about Bo Nix. They didn't mention his hand size one time. So I'm not concerned if they're not concerned, because when it comes to these rookies, I listen to people smarter than me, and the guys over at Football Guys are far smarter than I am. So.
Yep. All right. Bucs. We all agreed Baker Mayfield won't spend time
I did.
there.
Yeah, I don't think we need to talk much about the Bucs.
That's fine.
Broncos. Stacy.
Yeah, Ryan, I think you won me over with the Winston argument because I didn't really have anybody. I couldn't think of anybody who'd be a good fit there unless they gave Stidham a chance. But I really like Winston with the, like you said, just reunion with Sean Payton. I think that could happen. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, it seems like all the Saints are going to Denver, so why not Jameis?
They are the one team that, to me, inexplicably has not been linked to wanting Justin Fields. And at 12, I think they have the firepower. I do believe, again, that it's Jameis Winston. But I think if they are not in this Justin Fields discussion, they need to get into this Justin Fields discussion. You have a team that is built to win now. This is not like a incredibly young team all over the field. They have some young pieces, but you need to win now. And at 12, I think 12 is about all it's going to take to move up and get Fields. It's not going to take a whole lot. And so I think they're going to need to make that high consideration of let's go get Justin Fields. I don't think they're going to do it, and I believe it's going to be Jameis Winston. But it's incredible to me that they're not being mentioned with Justin Fields.
No, but this feels like Sean Payton would want to reset and start over.
Interesting.
Doesn't this feel like J.J. McCarthy? Like, doesn't
I
this
said this
feel
is
like
the part of the draft where I think he ends up.
Doesn't this feels like a Drew Brees?
Ooh.
I mean,
that's what it feels like.
I mean, I can see an argument for Peyton wanting to go get his guys. I mean, they brought him in, and he known for being that kind of control freak, like wants the guys that he wants. So
the man went and got Adam Troutman. Of course he wants his guys.
Yeah, Marvin Mims. Yeah, my boy Marvin Mims.
Yeah.
Who didn't
Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Yeah. Oh God, stealing all Mims' targets.
Yeah, that's 100%. But I'm looking at last year's in college. McCarthy just under 3,000 yards. Breeze 3,400 yards. 24 touchdowns for Breeze, 22 for J.J. McCarthy. Average yards per attempt, J.J. McCarthy has more. Average air yards per attempt, J.J. McCarthy has more. J.J. McCarthy had 8 less interceptions than Breeze. So, yes, we obviously know the offense he played in, but both Big Ten guys. Breeze went to Purdue. McCarthy went to Michigan.
Ability to see over the offensive line. J.J. McCarthy hasn't.
He has that as well. I don't know. I feel like that's a JJ like Drew, like Sean Payton wants to prove he's more than Drew Brees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's fair. I don't see the reset button in Denver. I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe I'm just not looking at the Denver Broncos correctly. Maybe I need to give them another look.
Fair. All right. Last team, the New York Giants. Stacy, what do you got?
It's not a sexy answer. It's not a fun, spicy answer. I think just from a pure business perspective, I think they stay with Danny Dimes. March 7th of last year is when they did that contract extension for $160 million, right? His dead cap hit right now is this year. Dead cap is $69 million.
Nice.
Yeah.
They can't move on. I was a little shocked Josh put this on here. So I'm actually going to flip the question for you, Stacy.
Yeah.
Knowing that they have to keep Dimes for 2024.
Yeah.
Do they draft a quarterback at 6? Is there one of these guys they believe in? Or what do you think they do at 6? Because I wholeheartedly agree it's Dimes. And I think Joe does as well. Just financially, I think it has to be. But I don't want to say necessarily if you're running the Giants, but what do you believe at 6? If, the first 3 are the first 3, let's assume they're gone. Yeah. So you're looking at Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy. I don't think Michael Penix is being looked that high. But if these are the guys you're looking at, would you take a flyer on one of these guys at 6? Are you trading back at 6?
I think he might trade back. And so I'm pulling up Daniel Jones's contract right now just because I want to look at the numbers there. Because those cap hits don't get any better for the next couple of years. I mean, it goes down 2025, cap hit $41 million, down at 2026, he's got a cap hit of $58 million. I just feel like they're stuck with him. So you go out and draft a rookie. How long do you intend on him sitting there?
I thought they had an escape plan after this year. Is that not right?
So there's a potential out 2025. It has 2-year, $82 million, $22 million cap hit after 2025.
It's because the dead cap is lower than the cap hit. In 2025. So yes.
Yeah, because I heard that's what this whole deal was that he was going to be the quarterback in 2024 no matter what with this deal.
So if that's what your plan is after 2025 or 2025 going into that, then potentially moving on from him. Yeah, maybe I could see them drafting one of the, not top guys in quarterback, especially there. But I just seem to me it makes more sense maybe just to move back a little bit. And that doesn't, preclude them from getting another quarterback at that point too. Maybe just somebody who's going to cost a little bit less.
I'm going to go back to something Joe said earlier in the show. And Joe, you know their names. I don't. The Arch Manning and whoever the other guy you said was.
Quinn
Ewers.
I think you move out of 6 and you said move a little bit back. I think you move way back and you try to stack next year's ones because I think you want the best quarterback in next year's draft. And so right now, knowing you're not getting anywhere near the best quarterback in this year's draft and that you have to start Daniel Dimes, I think you take 6 and move down with one of these playoff teams that might want to move up and get one of these wide receivers like a Dunze. And so I think you try to stack next year's ones to have your best possible chance at ending up with the number 1 pick or a very high pick next year. If I'm the Giants, that's how I'm playing it. Dimes has a chance to play for his job, but if you fuck it up, we're getting a quarterback and another piece next year.
So here's what I'm going to do with my abundance of draft knowledge. Here's what I got. We had someone on last year, I believe, for the quarterback show by the name of Chrissy Freud for the rookie quarterbacks.
Yep. Stars of Tomorrow.
She covers Tulane. She's a big part of that down there, Mississippi State, all that. She had an article, July 8th, 2022, talking about Tulane's Michael Pratt being 2022's most underrated quarterback. The man balled out in 2022. She called it. She called a lot of good things on the rookie show last year for our quarterbacks that she mentioned. Michael Pratt currently listed as the 7th best quarterback in this draft, behind all of your guys of Michael Penix, Bo Nix, and J.J. McCarthy rounding out 4, 5, and 6.
Probably what, second, third round pick projected?
You're telling me a team in this same division took a guy in the second round when their quarterback was making $40 million that year. And it was
worked out really well.
And it worked out for them, at least for one season. We'll see how it goes for the future. Yeah. But it worked out for him, and that was Jalen Hurts taking over for Carson Wentz. I think Michael Pratt could be that second. I don't know if he'll fall to the third, but that second or third round pick for the Giants that you could probably see take over for not Carson Wentz, for Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Sometime this year, if not in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, to Stacy's point, she even said it doesn't, trading back doesn't preclude them from taking a quarterback. Yeah. 2-6 to get Pratt. Mm-hmm. I'm not against that at all, but I'm moving out of 1-6. There's nobody at 1-6 that makes the Giants a contender next year. Like, it's just not going to happen. You've traded enormous parts of your defense away. You still do not have a number one wide receiver. I mean, I guess maybe you go get a Dunze, but like, are you really putting weapons in Daniel Jones's hands? Like, I would want to bring in the wide receiver with my real quarterback. So.
The only thing you do is you draft Joe Alt, put him at tackle, push Evan Neal to guard. That's the only thing you're doing.
Not a bad play, but that's such a fucking Giants play. That's exactly what they're going to do. Let's be clear, because that's what the Giants do. So
yes, they should trade out. They should, but if they're not, that wouldn't be the worst pick in the world right there.
It's what they're going to do. I bookmark this because that's what they're going to do.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Stacy, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you joining.
Thank you for having me tonight, guys.
Yeah, one time, where can everybody find you and everything you do?
Yeah, so guys, I'm with Fantasy and Frames. You can find me on our website there, on social media. I am at Stacy_Perez 83, Stacy with no E, the correct way to spell it. So you can find me over there, and hope to see everybody on the Twitter.
Beauty. On the X, on the
Twitter. On the X.
No, don't call it X. It's the dumbest thing in the world.
It's horrible. It's Twitter.
I don't even formerly known as. I straight up. It is Twitter. It will always be Twitter.
It's always Twitter. Yeah. It's still twitter.com.
Please. Thank you. Twitter.
It's the URL. Next week, breaking down the running back position. Free agency, obviously, continuing this basically next 3 weeks as we lead up to the actual period of NFL free agency. I'm sure we'll mix in some combine talks and reactions as that pops up in the next couple weeks as well. Joining us, Jen Eakins from 4for4 Football will be joining us next week. Whole gang should be back because it's not Valentine's Day at a restaurant where Josh works as a manager. So as you can imagine, one might be a little busy today on Valentine's Day. Just a little bit busy. For Stacy, Ryan, Josh, myself, and Club Fantasy, you can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. Always remember, defense wins championships. Offense wins fantasy football. We will see you next week.